Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is the 25th anniversary, a Lange Söhne Datograph flyback. It's the Datograph up-down generation in white gold, a 125-piece edition launched in 2024 to celebrate a quarter century of Germany's most influential modern chronograph. 41 millimeters in diameter in white gold, really gray gold. It is 13.6 millimeters thick and 48.4 from lug tip to lug tip with 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. The watch is a large timepiece, and there's no getting around that, but it does feel substantial, which I think everyone who buys this type of watch will agree is a desirable quality. On my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, you see the lugs are actually a little inboard of the edge of my wrist. So I believe if your wrist is my size or larger, game on. You're going to be able to wear this Datograph up-down. Remember, the original was 39. The up-down since 2012 has been a 41 millimeter watch. Although it's not terribly thin, it does have a rather dramatically sloped domed bezel, so it should slide underneath a cuff. Now, the watch is made of white gold, and so are the hands, the indices, and the date frame. The dial is blued sterling silver, so it's precious metal inside precious metal. We have a very upscale medium blue, semi-gloss, alligator leather strap. There's some bolstering to give it volume, a folded edge, a monotone stitch, calfskin on the bottom, no crimping, no gouging. Brand new Lange Söhne factory strap. And then we have this buckle, which has two nice features. Yes, it's Lange branded. Yes, it has some soft fastening outboard, but also has this elevated bridge so that the strap sits flush inside the buckle rather than stacking up underneath it. You see how it sits inside like that? And then there's this little retaining bar. That's there for people like me who have small wrists and use the smallest hole or might even punch a few smaller ones. You know, when you strap a watch down really tight on a pin buckle, it can get stuck. So this little bar prevents the strap from sinking too far down on the pin, so it can't get pinned on the pin. So if you strap it down tight, that's what this little bar is for, so you can extricate it. Lange's distinctive case with its stepped lugs, timeless and distinctive. You can see the lugs are polished. The case band here is actually satinated. That's not universal on Lange watches, but this watch has it, and I prefer the look. Adds a little bit of nuance. The pusher for the date actually has a combination of polish and satin, and of course I set the date to 25 on this watch because 25th anniversary. The crown is simple, Lange branded. And then we'll take a quick look at the dial side here. The up-down is called the up-down because it has the up and down, and that's basically how this works. Second generation Datagraphs have 60-hour power reserves compared to 36 on the original, so this is 60 hours. It does feature a stop seconds function. It does feature the power reserve. It does feature a date with 2 digits, and then there is a stop seconds function. If you pull the crown out, everything comes to a halt. There's a pusher adjuster that allows you to rapidly cycle the panorama datum, which started life as a JLC patent, but was given to Lange by Lange co-founder Gunter Blumlein in the early 1990s when the German brand was being re-established after years of dormancy during the era of German communism. Of course, these are made in Glashütte in the traditional watchmaking eastern region of the country. Also worth mentioning, you can pay attention right here because this is a flyback chronograph. So you can reset and restart without first stopping. That's great for timing events that occur in rapid succession. Outboard, we have a tachymetric scale, which you can see is upwardly stepped from the center dial. That allows us to gauge the speed of an object, such as a race car across a kilometer. So if you were to start the chronograph when the race car begins the kilometer, and then stop it when the kilometer is finished, or when the race car crosses the finish point, you would see it's going 190 kilometers per hour. And by the way, Datograph pusher feel, it's not the stiffest, but it is everything it's made out to be in terms of precision and the tactile quality of it. If you want just a rock-hard, rock-crunching pusher feel on a chronograph, like if you want the stiffest possible column wheel, that would be something like a Breitling B01. This offers a positive click, but there's also a refinement to it. In other words, it is what I would describe as delicately beautiful in the way it feels. Rolling everything over. This is the latest version of caliber L951, which caused a stir when it debuted in its original form in 1999 at Baselworld. That was the movement, that 951, that generally forced Patek Philippe to reconsider using a Bosch for its chronograph. And so this is the 6th revision. So the way this works is L means Lange, 95 means that's the year work on the movement started, 1 means it was the first movement started that year, and then 6 means it's the 6th version of this watch. Or this movement, I should say. So, 2.5 hertz beat rate on a free sprung balance. Yes, there's a swan's neck fine adjustment, but most of the timing of that balance is done using those eccentric masses on the rim. You can't accidentally change the timing by shocking this watch. That can't move the screw-fixed regulator, and it can't move the eccentric masses on the rim. So it's effectively a free sprung balance, beating away at 2.5 hertz. Now, you can't see it easily. There's also an overcoil hairspring, so it can breathe concentrically and develop concentrically no matter what the position of the watch, offering great rate stability in different positions. Now you can see that lovely column wheel in action, as well as a handsome lateral clutch. There are 4 jewels set, well, I guess one could say there are 4 jewels set in screw-fixed chaton. There are 2 additional ones, and those little gold cups fixed by screws are a nod to the way watches were made in glashütte historically before World War II, where, especially in the 19th century, directly pressing a jewel into a bridge or a plate was not always possible, so a precision golden cup would be created, the jewel pressed into that, and then the cup held in place using screws. And so that is the era that's being recalled by this design. If you look carefully, you can see we actually have both polished screws and blued screws here, and there is a logic to which ones are polished and which ones are blued. Polished screws here are all used for adjustment of mechanisms, whereas the blued ones are used to fix things that are non-moving and not adjustable, like bridges or jewel chaton. All of the parts here that are silver are generally the elements of the chronograph. So we have the clutch, we have the recentering hammers, we have the levers and the horns, and you can see the lateral clutch is quite beautiful. In fact, if we get close to it, we can see that how much black polish there is on this movement. That's mirrored polish that only reflects light from one angle. From all the other angles, it looks black. It's the highest standard of optical finish generally achieved with a zinc plate, or I should say tin polishing, or diamond paste. That's generally how it's done. And then you can see that we also have these very sharp interior angles being executed where bevels meet in sharp creases on the steel portion of the clutch, which is deeply impressive. There's engine turning on the base plate. You can see the freehand engraving on the balanced cock right there. All of this 46 joules. It's adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. We do have stripes across the bridges. We do have bevels on their edges. We also have bevels on the edges of the steel parts of the chronograph. The chronograph parts are generally polished or brushed satin on their top and then beveled on their sides. And the German silver bridges and plates, you can see they're sort of champagne compared to the silver color of the chronograph steel parts. That champagne color is a product of the nickel, copper, zinc alloy that comprises German silver. It's not actually made of silver. It's the copper that gives it that hue, and it can get darker with time, although it won't corrode. And then the watch is 30 meters water resistant, so don't swim with it, but it is a sporty dress watch. That's probably the best way to describe it. And along those lines, it has reasonable amounts of luminescence. You can see the 4 corners as well as the hour and minute hand. If you want to make this modern classic and limited edition yours, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.